Okay, we got Megan first. Let's get some title updates.
Good morning.
There she is.
Hey, I just wanted to thank everybody for joining our class. I loved hearing all the feedback from it. It was a really great class, and I was happy to share the video of the AI and just show you guys that it's real and it's out there. So thank you for joining that. It was a really great class to do. I've also had tons of questions about the new FinCEN that's being effective as of March 1st. So we are going to, I had a different training for March, but I'm going to move FinCEN into March. And we're going to touch base on that from our Thursday monthly training in March. So that way we can talk about all of it, get any questions out there. I'm going to see if Amy Gregory will also be available so we can have her expertise on the call as well. But that'll be a really good call for March. So bring your questions that you guys have and we will boost everything out there.
And that's mostly affecting owner financing, cash purchases, pretty much.
And hard money lenders. Yep. And it's only if they're purchasing in an entity. So if it is a buyer who's buying cash as individual or as husband and wife, it won't apply. But if they're buying in an LLC or they're buying in a corporation, then it is going to apply. I had an agent text me this weekend and asked how quickly we could do it and how quickly we can turn around a cash transaction. It's all dependent on your clients. Once they get this link to be able to fill out the information, we can close. I also want to make it like when we have a new process, like the certified process, we were able to roll that out and test it and do a soft rollout for our different offices. So that way we could get full understanding of it before it was completely rolled out. This is super different. It's not effective until March. So there's no testing it. It's just rolling it out and adjusting it as we need to. So any feedback once this does roll out, if you have clients who are inputting it, if something's wrong or something's not very user friendly, let us know so we can make that adjustment and make it easier for your clients to get this information to us.
Gotcha.
All
Cool.
right. Well, that's
Thanks.
it. I hope you guys have a wonderful week and I'll see you on Tuesday.
Okay. Hey, Chris, if you don't mind, jump ahead to the last slide, 31, because I think it's really relevant for what we're talking about. Most agents know what's happening. Good agents understand what's happening, and only great agents can explain what's happening. So what's happening right now? What have we been talking about for the last 4 months? The boom. The boom is here. It's coming, right? So we're going to focus on the facts that make the boom what it is. So let's jump into that part.
Well, first I want to
Okay.
get our quote of the day. A ship is always safer at shore, but that's not what it was built for.
Yep.
Like I said, I know you're comfortable. I know it's easier not to change. I know it feels safe where you are. And even if it doesn't feel quite safe, I know that you'd rather live with the stress of what you know rather than the stress of what you don't. But if you allow that to persist, how will you ever know what's out there for you? That's why we constantly focus on goals, constantly focus on things that are going to create a bigger life for you, a big ass smile goal that's going to change you, change your emotions, change your actions, change your outcomes, because that's what you were built for. You weren't built to settle for all of the things that you're dealing with. You weren't built to manage your circumstances. You were built to thrive. But the only way that happens is if you step outside of your comfort zone and create the opportunities to thrive. And they're not going to stay right where you are. They're going to be just outside, a little bit of a stretch. So because that's what you were built for.
That's true. So we talk about mindset, skills, actions, and accountability, right? So what's the most important first one? Mindset. So let's back up our mindset, not with bullshit, but with facts, right? Let's look at what the facts are right now. Affordability is returning to the market. I got blasted by a customer the other day. He said, I read your article, which went out, and I think I need to raise my price because of what you said. So the agent, that was his agent, yelled at me for making that statement, right? That's not what I said. I said the market is returning to normal, right? And that's what this is. Affordability is returning to the market. Share of counties where it's more affordable to buy than rent a 3-bedroom home. Midwest to South, 66% of the time, it's more affordable to buy a home than rent. Holy cow. These are facts. Next slide. This is what small wins year looks like for housing. Rising incomes, subdued price growth, gradually easing mortgage rates, gradually, would help buyers regain their footing while allowing homeowners to continue building wealth. These types of slow and steady affordability improvements are exactly what the housing market needs in the long run. That's where we are right now. Steady growth. It's wonderful. And this is, you like this one. Look at the difference in savings between January of 2025 and February of 2026. That's a car payment. That's how much more affordable it is now for people to buy today than it was a year from now.
On a $500,000 loan, if you bought at the end of January in 2025, you would be paying $3,400 a month. At the end of January 26, you'd be paying $3,000, $3,062 a month. It's a $352 difference. That's $352 more affordable for your everyday average buyer if they're buying a $500,000 home. If the rates continue to slip, you're going to save another $67 a month. But here's where you guys become really knowledgeable and really powerful. What I put down here in asterisks, do you know that in nearly every single one of our markets, builders are offering 3.99% interest rates? Nearly every single one. And if they're not offering 3.99, they're offering 4.99 as an incentive. It just depends, but they're offering these rates. Do you see that that would be a payment of $23.85 a month compared to the $3,062 a month it is right now if it's at 6.2? That's an additional savings of $610 a month. If you just decide that you're going to know the market, know where the builders are, know where D.R. Horton, know where Lennar, know where Pulte is, know where all of those builders are building and find the opportunities for your buyer. Every buyer, look, I know we sell resales and we show all of the opportunities and give every opportunity to the buyer. But wouldn't a buyer want to know that they could save about $500 a month if they were willing to drive an extra 5 minutes or 10 minutes down into another area that maybe wasn't in their original search? Is it worth $500 a month to do that? Is it worth getting a 3.99% interest rate rather than a 5.99 or 6.25? We don't know until we ask, until we talk to them and give them that information. They say, have you ever had a buyer say, I want a single family home with an acre and a pool, and they end up in a townhome? It's happened, right? So if they say, well, I want to be in this town because of this and this and this, I say, what if I saved you $500 a month? Oh, I'll drive. We're good. So you need to know these things. You need to know the impact of the interest rate and how affordability is continuing to ease and give the buyers more opportunities to buy. And then know that what your seller's competition is when you're competing with builders and you have a product that a builder might also be providing at a much lower interest rate, and you just need to know how to strategize.
It's called reality. Next one. Home price growth has moderated. Pay attention to the words. Growth has moderated. We're still growing. We're just not growing as fast as we were. Nothing's going down. So it's moderating the growth. So home ownership is still gaining equity. It's just gaining less equity than it has before, right? What do you get when you rent? Nothing. What a great opportunity for all of us to just see the facts of what's going on. We're in an incredibly rate sensitive environment today. And every time we've seen mortgage rates drop into the low to mid 6 range, we've seen an influx of buyers hit the market. Right? Chris, you've been talking about this for a long time. Every time the rate drops 1 point, 5 million people become qualified to buy a home. That's a huge, where are those people? They're in your database. All you got to do is talk to them. It's really super cool. With the economy improving and the average 30-year fixed rate mortgage nearly a percentage point lower than last year, more home buyers are entering the market. That's it. These are the facts. We've been talking about the boom is coming, the boom is coming, the boom is coming. The boom is here.
These are just the stats to prove it to you. January of 2020 to June of 2020, rates went from 3.6 to 3.16. Buyer demand went up 5.5%. February 22 to October 22, rates went up from 3 3/4 to almost 7. Buyer demand went down 40%. I mean, it's a causal relation. October 23 to January 24, rates went from 7.6 to 6.6. Buyer demand went up 17%. November 24, December 24, they went down from 6.8 to 6.6, and buyer demand goes up 15%. Right now, we're seeing that September of 25 till November of 25. That was our last boom. We started in August. Said there's a boom coming. There's a boom coming. September till November, buyer demand went up 8.2%. Our sales and our numbers for the fourth quarter went up 15%. There is a causal relation with the interest rate drops and buyer demands. And like Craig said, whenever rates drop about 1 point, it makes 5.5 million households now able to potentially afford a mortgage. And when that happens, they expect about a 10% of those 5.5 million to potentially buy, which is 500,000 homes. And when you see that the buyer demand is trending, this is the way it's been trending. And ever since 24, middle of 25, it started trending back up. There's more buyer demand coming back in because of the shift and change in interest rates and affordability. Every factor that's right in our market right now is causing a buyer to second think about, I could probably buy something. Interest rates are lower, and all you have to be is the person who provides a little bit of information that causes them to think a little bit deeper and pick up the phone and call you. Whether it's a post, whether it's a call, whether it's a text, whether it's an email, you need to be the one in front of them having more conversations.
You know, it's funny. We talk about the math of all this stuff, right? Homeownership makes financial sense. What's the other side of the equation? Pride of homeownership. I helped a friend of mine's daughter buy a house the other day, and she called and said, I can't tell you how happy I am. This is my house. I can paint it the color I want to paint it. I can do this to it. I can do that to it. I can do this to it. I can do that to it. I changed all the doorknobs. I changed all this stuff, and it's their home, right? So we talk about the financial side of home ownership, but there's also a pride in home ownership. And that was my whole pitch when I talked to her earlier. I said, look, it's not financial. That's a no-brainer. The side of it is the pride of owning your own home, right? And doing to it what you want to do and maintaining it and taking care of it and doing all those things. That's what we're selling, right? It's the emotion of everything we're doing. So we're going to talk about mindset, skill, actions, and accountability. The mindset is here. The facts are proving that this is the right thing to do, right? Do you guys have the skills to talk to people? Do you know how to write a contract? Do you know how to show property? Do you know how to do those things? Can you coach them on pricing? Yes. Right? Actions is where we need to focus our time on, right? What actions are we taking? The average, what is it? 71% of agents did not have one closing last year. Our company, 70% of agents had at least one closing last year. So it's actions, taking the actions, right? And then accountability is holding yourself responsible for what you say you're going to do. So that's all we need.
Look, everything we're doing is what do buyers buy with emotion and justify with logic?
100%.
Right? So the emotion is going to be there. And what we're trying to do is provide some of that logic that helps them continue to foster the emotions to get them to that point. And when they start seeing the things that are actually going on, instead of paying attention to some of the bigger headlines that are out there that aren't really a true depiction of what's going on in a market. And then their market could be completely different. You all see markets that homes are not moving as fast, and we all see markets where homes are selling very quick. We see it everywhere. We see tons of green dots on our MLS, and we see some where there's tons of orange dots because they're under contract. You just need to know where those are, have the information, be able to provide some of the logical side of it, and then pair that with some of their emotion. So what was it that was driving this move? What is causing you to put your home on the market? Understand the emotional side of it, back it up with the logic, because they're going to make a decision based on logic. And then we help get to that point, make a decision on the emotion, and we're going to help get them there with the logic of it, putting in the facts of what's actually going on.
Mortgage rates are down a full percentage point from last year, now near their lowest level in almost 3 years. That's the environment you're in right now. Wonderful. A typical mortgage payment now takes 32.6% of median income, the best level since August of 2022. This is 2026. More affordability now than ever before. Monthly payments are 8.4% lower than a year ago. Facts. There you go. The NAR Affordability Index improved steadily through the second half of 2025, signaling a shift in buying power. That's the key. Buyers now have more power. Are you seeing more negotiation happen between a buyer and a seller right now? 100%. Sellers are contributing to the buyer's ability to pay, right? Wages are rising faster than home prices, an important reversal, helping more buyers qualify. Wages are rising faster than home prices. I haven't seen that happen. Home price appreciation is moderated, moving away from the rapid growth with 21 to 23. Right? We've not seen the rapid appreciation that we saw, right? But different homes are different ways, with different values. You do that one.
Listen, it's just reiterating.
Right.
Each time the rates fall into the mid sixes, buyer activity increases. We're in the low sixes now. That 1 point drop makes it more affordable for 5.5 million households to be able to afford a mortgage, which is about 1.6 million renters, and typically about 10% of that 5.5 million. That's a historical number. Whenever the rates drop that much, they see an increase of about 500,000 homes, and that could translate to 500,000 sales in 2026. And it's no mystery that they forecasted from a 4 million, 4.1 million to 4.6, 4.65 million. That's a 550,000 home sale increase because the rates dropped from the high sixes to the low sixes, and they're expecting them to fall into the high fives and stay there. And you could already get a 4% interest rate going to the right place, or a 5.5% interest rate in the right place, or negotiating those buy downs. They're already here and it's already there, which is why they're saying we're going to see a boom and increase in the sales coming into 2026.
Yep. Lower rates equal moderating prices. That's the challenge we have with our sellers. Our sellers are historically thinking back to where prices go up, 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 up. And they think their homes are here. They're not. Right? You and I are going to talk about this later today. Where you got to adjust back down to moderating prices. What's appreciation right now?
1 to 2%.
1 to 2%. What was it historically? 5%. What was it historically 5 years ago? 15, 20%. Right? Those days are gone.
In a 5-year span, people saw 80%, anywhere from 70 to 100% appreciation from 2020 to 2025. In a 5-year span, that's huge. That's over 10% every year when the average is 3 to 5% a year. That's
not sustainable.
Unreal. And that's, again, completely unsustainable. But that's where we need to come in and have the discussions with sellers. If you did buy your home in 21 or 22, maybe 22, 23, we need to be having a different discussion. You may be able to get out of the home, but you may not make any money getting out of it. But that could be the case, but it could also be the case where we put it on the market and within 10 days we have multiple offers and we sell it over asking price.
All right. Early 2026 offers a window where buyers can act before competition intensifies. That's where we are right now. Buyers can act right now, take advantage of what the supply is right now, make an offer, get it accepted, ask for closing costs, ask for all these things, and they're getting it, right? Agents who can explain the math, not just repeat the headlines, will win more conversations and more market share. That's what you guys need to be doing. And now is the time to prepare your team to re-engage leads who stepped out during 2023 and 24, right? Where do we have those leads? They're in your Moxie, right? So if you have any spare time at all, you need to go back into your old leads from a year ago and call them all. That's what I'm personally doing. All my reservations that failed, I'm calling them all. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm just calling them all because they can afford to buy now. They couldn't afford to buy before, right? All your leads in your lead router or your leads engine, that's where they are. So if you have any spare time at all, call them now.
Then just some updates for you for moving forward. If you haven't seen our Zillow showcase, which was $225 per token, is now $150 per token. There's really no excuse to not have a Zillow showcase on every listing, unless the home is something where you could not prepare it. It's a complete mess. Maybe it's a hoarder house, it's a short sale, it's a foreclosure, and it looks like an absolute mess. It probably doesn't make sense, but for every other listing, I don't care the price point, it makes sense for you to spend $150 on $150 to showcase that. Hang on one second, let me add Jimmy in. I'm sure he's gonna want to share something as well. So we have, and there's plenty of videos and plenty of info. You can go into Beggins University under the Zillow section. There is a Zillow co-host. There's a Zillow section in there with all the information on how to order it, because you're not doing it the same way. You're not going to Beggins University and ordering a showcase through Beggins University. There's all the information on how to purchase it. Jimmy, if you're online, go right ahead.
Who's done one so far recently? Nope. Okay. It's an easier process now than it was before, right? It's going to be different, but it's easier. So
What you
Much
got, bro?
easier. Much easier. And honestly, then the cool thing that I'm noticing too is that we're doing about one per day, which is really cool. Which is actually up a little bit. We typically do about 20 to 25, and the way we're kind of looking right now is pretty fantastic. And I think Jennifer Birdsong also threw in there just not vacant land or anything like that, so that will not work with it. But please take advantage of this. Get in there, learn how to do it, add it to your listings, and don't forget that there's some extra sections in there that talk about performance too, so it can really help with some of the conversations with your sellers if you have to have some of those tough conversations to possibly bring down. And then you can actually see the listing of the week. So Kelly Touchton, great job. Look at the performance with 16 days on the market, up 456% versus those that are similar, 283% more saves, and 305% more shares. So I will tell you, the views is great, but the saves and the shares, that's the engagement. And I would assume that she's getting showings, right? And if she's not getting showings or she's not getting under contract yet, this is that conversation that you could have, because if we're getting all of this and we're not getting any activity, that would show that we're probably off a little bit when it comes down to that price, right?
Yep,
So
and you get an analytics report with it that you can show your sellers. So there's tons of information, and this property actually is under contract already. Yep, so awesome job.
See, that just proves the point, right? Like that's just exactly, I didn't realize my camera wasn't on. Sorry. So what he said there. So fantastic job there. Next up, real quick, again, just another heads up on the pre-listing package. The old C21 Beggins pre-listing presentation package is sunsetting at the end of March. So please make sure you're using the 2026 marketing presentation for your preview and those kind of things. So please make sure you're paying attention to that.
It's hard to not. It says Century 21 Beggins 2026 marketing package. So
And it's like the first thing.
It's right there.
So yeah, so please try to use that one. I mean, you want to be updated, right? You want to be with the latest graphics, the latest information, the latest stats about how we're doing as a company. Next up, too, I saw a lot of these go out, but please don't forget that that the February 2026 newsletter is out right now. And the cool thing with this, if you go back to look at the video that I sent last week, not only can you do it in Moxie Engage like we've done in the past, but we now have the capability of going into Moxie Rise and using it in Moxie Rise. It's already created for you. Follow the video, follow those steps. And just remember, with Moxie Rise, it's going to give you a little bit more, a better sending engines, get in front of more people, and much easier to go through and time saving. So make sure this is a great opportunity for you to go in and learn how to send out a brokerage made newsletter for you very easily and quickly. So get in there and get that out. You still got a couple weeks left there. Beggins University update. Please join Mike and I on Thursday. We will be going over some updates to the tool. But what I wanted to show you, one of the updates that we just made live this week, is in the Idea Hub. You now have the capability of adding yourself to the graphics that are actually created. So what we have been able to do with this, and this is actually something that has been actually asked for quite a bit. And remember, the Idea Hub is something that will allow you, it helps create social media content from graphics to even the text that you're going to put in social media. So what I did to kind of go along with today is I grabbed 2 talking points, because this happens a lot. We give you a lot of information, and what happens is we pause on, what do we say? How do I get this out in front of people? So what we've done, I took 2 talking points. One, mortgage rates are down a full percent point from last year, hitting the lowest. And the second one, it's time to get off the fence, right? This is a goal. And this is Craig without hair. Okay. So what I did is I basically just took the message from today, threw it in, created my own content, and it went through and created a graphic with in this case Craig on there. So just a really, really cool tool. I'll walk you through on Thursday how to actually do this, because our AI headshot tool, and along with this in here, Mike has made some fantastic updates for it. I mean, look at that. Like, that's just really, it did a really, really, really nice job. So again, if you don't know
We
what
should
to
do a
post,
contest. Jimmy, we need to do a contest. Send both of these out and tell people to caption this photo. What's Jimmy saying? What's Craig saying?
that would be fun. That would actually be fun. And then again, Craig, this is what you look like without hair, by the way. It did cut it off because I didn't have a very good photo with the long hair. So, but anyways, it's just really cool that
Like
you
you
can
got
actually.
Article 11 of the Code of Ethics, truth in advertising is important.
No, Jimmy
Yeah, I
actually,
mean,
Jimmy owns that vest. He wears those clothes.
I own it. I'm wearing it. I'm wearing it right now. Like, this is like this. It actually is the outfit that I was wearing. So it's just a nice tool that you can kind of get some content out there and make it a little bit more personalized for you. And it does a couple other things that I'll talk about Thursday. You're gonna love kind of what we're gonna show on there. And you know what? I might just do it all on my phone, which you can't see here. I might do it all on my phone to show you, because I did all this literally on my phone in seconds. Like, I didn't have to go to the computer to do any of this stuff. I had to copy and paste once it was done. But other than that, like, I did this all on my phone in the car. I shouldn't have been doing it, but I did. So just a really, really awesome tool, like with just a small little tweak that you can personalize a little bit more. So please join me on Thursday, Mike and I, so we can kind of walk you through what this looks like.
All right, wrapping it up. Whose mindset is good right now? Is the opportunity there for us right now? Right? So we need to have the skills. Tune in Thursday, tune in tomorrow, right? Actions are your responsibility. That's where you need to step up and start talking to people. And then accountability is holding yourselves accountable, right? And when you do, our top level is $161,000 is your master's entry to the path to Centurion. That's a huge income generator. Most people don't make that much money.
So in the last 2 minutes here, if you were going to focus on any area to grow your business in 2026 to hit a larger goal, where would you focus?
I know.
Where would you take action? Like, go ahead and chat it in where you plan to take action. Where do you plan to take action? Not where would you, because where you would and what you actually do could be two different things. But what are you going to do to add business to your pipeline in 2026 here in this by the end of this first quarter? Where would you focus and what will you focus on? Buyers and tenants, focusing on new construction.
That's good.
Where else? Expired listings, Sandal Key Lagoon community and new construction. There you go.
Love it.
Talk to past clients. There's no wrong answer here. If you become a master at whatever you focus on, and that's what you make focus for your next 90 days, there is no wrong answer. Because if you're taking action, talking to 10 people every single day to generate and create the outcome, if that's what your goal is. If your goal is to do less, you may have to talk to less people. If your goal is to do more, you may have to talk to more people. But if you select the focus and you put the action in, go through my buyer database. Anybody who has a buyer database of anybody who's inquired in the last 4 years, you should be calling them right now. Anybody, because you've all worked with a buyer who decided to rent because they were tired of competing 4 years ago. You've all worked with a buyer who decided not to buy because they couldn't afford affordability because of interest rates. They couldn't afford the home they wanted and they didn't want to settle. We all have them in our database. So you should be calling your sphere, calling your buyers, calling expireds, calling anybody, but choose a lane of focus that you're going to focus on. We need to take action. Action is what makes all the difference. We show up with a strong mindset, with some motivating factors of those goals that we want, and take massive action, and then we allow someone to hold us accountable. So make sure you get with your manager, make sure you allow them to hold you accountable to the actions that you said you were going to do. You said you would do it. Don't settle. Let us hold you accountable. We have 2 feet for a reason, because we can stand on one and give you a good swift kick in the rear with the other.
Pat on the back or a kick in the ass, either one. That's it. That's all we got for the broker briefing this morning. Happy Tuesday. Let's break off to individual office meetings.